Okay, go ahead.
Keep toilets open.
It's not too hot. That might pose no one in the world.
Yeah.
Is there a
Bring the
website?
toilets. Thank you.
Or even less important.
You're supposed to have your own bathroom, your own private bathroom. You're supposed to go out and buy something and then go back home.
You're supposed to be in the car or something.
Pardon?
Hey,
I mean,
how you doing,
yeah,
Paul?
you're right. Yeah.
Call the police on it.
No, he's also. Where is he? Oh yeah. Okay.
We're actually going to ignore it until they issue an actual warning. I just think it's too petty and mean and lacking in civility.
Oh, so somebody be videoing this and reading the thing, and that's what's really good on lesson.
There's no law. Unfortunately, you gotta. It's a rule, but it's not a law. So don't do it if you don't want a false arrest charge.
It's a
Oh,
vagrant
it
sign.
doesn't fall under, Robert, is the conduct on public property.
Correct,
Don't you
but that
feel
assumes
stupid
it's
in
not
enforcing
customarily
the
used
rules?
We're just
designed
making
to sit
signs
on.
here. We're not even
Which
going to
it
have
is,
our protest
so
here. We're just
I'd be
gathering
having a hard
here
time
at our public city hall. I just want to say my father was Assistant Attorney General of the state of
That's great.
Oregon.
I was just talking to Robert here.
Okay,
It's
I'm
gonna
just
finish my
saying
conversation
I'm a
with you
little
in just a
annoyed
second.
that I'm even having to be hassled about
I beg your
sitting at
pardon.
City Hall during the
Robert,
day.
how long do you need to make your sign?
Well, we're probably leaving in about.
Do you get to like decide how much time?
I'm
you
asking
spend
him a
here?
question. Thank you for
Well,
butting in.
I don't know. I mean,
I saw a bunch of kids here eating their lunch the other
in
day.
solidarity
There
with the
was
folks
two
making
full
signs, I
school
can't speak
groups.
for myself or others. I have to say, you know, it's what's the problem? So why are we talking about it?
Am I free to go?
I see
I'm
people
leaving.
sitting
I
here
don't
all
want to
day.
be
Hey,
back.
have a nice day. You're all free to go if you want to. We're just having a conversation.
Why are you?
I got you.
Why are you speaking? What's your? You're here. You could be doing something else. We have two officers. Officer Underwood, Officer.
Well, we got sent here because apparently the first lifeguard had asked me to leave in accordance with the rules that they have posted here. And we didn't want to hours. Sent here for that. And then I'm checking with you about how long.
See you, Charlie.
If I'm breaking the law, that's your people.
Well, if it
There is a city
falls under,
I know. But
It's
customarily designed.
a city law,
Which law are you speaking of?
13.0, 4.010,
Which is?
access limit. And since it's posted that you cannot have your stuff on this ledge here, then
What is our stuff?
When is it access what?
You know, the reality is,
That over
this is
there.
city.
limited access
I'll
to
hold it.
The center of government. So what I would say, I understand what you're telling me, but I'm saying that since we are engaged in First Amendment activity, I
Isn't
think
this a
that
park? I thought this was a park.
you would be mistaken in finding.
You can't sit at the park?
That's just.
It's like built to be a chair. Look at the size of it.
Also, it is.
I'm not saying
Nothing's
anything about you
harmed.
sitting on it, I'm saying about the stuff on it.
First of all, we're not
What's it harming?
over there.
Is the stuff
I merely asked
blocking
how long.
something or
I was
harming
willing to-
something?
I don't
It really
think
is
the
none of your
laws-
business. I don't come and ask you what you're.
I don't think it's a
Sometimes we do.
law.
oh yes,
But that's different. You're paid by the public. We're not.
we have friendly chats all the time.
Well, friendly is
I don't
good,
mind.
but you're not here as a friend on a friendly mission.
Am I being
I
adversarial?
always think though,
I'm not detaining you or anything like
if
that.
we
You
pay
guys-
No, your very
taxes,
presence is a threat.
if we pay
Listen, you
taxes,
know
do you
what?
think there should be
That-
bathrooms
That's-
Or
available?
you
for
wouldn't have
23
that,
years.
For the
or you wouldn't
taxes
have
that we
those
pay?
insignia.
Well, this is a
Rome
lifesaver.
did it.
It's for saving
You
a
wouldn't
life.
have those insignia if you
We
didn't
could
mean
do
all
it
you
1,000
said.
years
Mr. Henry,
ago.
ask me how long you're going to be here.
How long do you think it'll be?
We're going to be here about till
You better watch
and
your
then we're
step,
going over
lady.
there.
I'm hoping
Don't
about-
sit down here, or
Hour,
actually,
hour and a half.
the officers aren't concerned with sitting down. It's just don't put your sign down on the wall.
I'd
So if
like
you have
to
a
make it
purse,
at least past
don't put your
90.
purse
I'm not
down on.
gonna
I don't think so.
It's a big plus. We're not either. We're speaking.
Anyway, so,
I'm trying to think of a slogan for why we pay
You know what you
taxes and
start with?
bathrooms aren't
You just
open.
figure out the center letter. That's how we used to do on the computer, on the typewriter, to center something in the middle.
Yeah, and then
no
pencil it
pooling
in, and
outside.
then
Your tax
even if there's no
dollars not at work.
bathrooms, it's
my
the
husband
law.
was an artist.
There's an Elmo one that I like, but it doesn't really apply. It's
Do you have any
like boss makes a
suggestions
dollar,
for
I make a
signs?
dime. That's why it's on company time. But it doesn't really apply to that.
No signs.
Says those
We
stuff on
pay
it.
taxes to pee. Open the bathrooms. That's too long.
You can do anything you want. I feel we have a right to be here, and I don't want to be intimidated. Because that's what they're trying to do. But, you know, I can appreciate he initially...
There's still some more cardboards. Make another sign if you want.
They could regulate, like,
No, but in a way, it's talking about the law.
They said they were worried about these signs and things being on the thing, but it was okay to sit.
Yeah, I heard that.
And a little interesting.
Man videoing this, a very colorfully garbed Verity, a famous visitor from out of the area, who actually designs a free eats chart.
Good. Okay.
And also, police are
how about
standing on the sidewalk discussing the
You're
rules
welcome.
that are actually
pay taxes, hold your feet?
That's good.
well, that are
Is that good?
Fabulous.
grounds.
Okay,
And we
pay
have
taxes
the
and hold
first
your
alarm. I won't give you my first name
feet.
guard.
Red?
Lopez.
That should be for the hold your feet part.
So I'm really...
They were nice. No, I would feel bad like I'm harassing them.
You're not across the street.
I've done demonstration in park and back. We're not demonstrating. We just stopped here to make our signs.
What's happening here?
We're just chatting. Nothing.
Nothing?
Why
Come
don't
on, I mean,
Are we waiting for
did I get up for nothing?
Are we waiting for
Well, I'm getting some signs made. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I got my signs.
You all set. But you can make some more.
If you give me, I don't have cardboard.
I'll give you some. So here's a small piece.
You do. Check out.
Sure. Yeah, right. Feels good, don't it? Positive vibes, positive energy.
Yes. That's the way I go. Positive. It's with the poor little doggy.
Your choice.
It's Phil's.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I moved.
The ideas off the normal.
Yeah. Oh, is that it? Yeah.
Right. We're
Well, it's
leaving
good to
anyway.
see you. I am.
We're going to be in front of parks.
No, I'm here for that.
You're here for the police? Well, to fight the menace of
Yes.
unregulated.
Yes. I'm here. I'm just going to go put this in my car, though.
All right.
Because it's warming up.
It is. I'm probably going to have to take off.
I know. It's a company called Valentine, and they have right up 101 in Cachati. Look! Woo!
Your ancient words. Noted.
Okay, I'll do it for you. Respect your neighbors and the homeless as yourself.
Okay, well, I'll be back. All right. Gloria. Open the damn bathrooms.
Okay. Okay, I like that.
Such vulgar language.
Oh, got it.
Open the damn mouth.
See, now the Laura. Yeah, that's how I think of it.
That's right.
I brought the tripod.
I brought the camera and I brought the tripod, but I'm just so bad at that.
No battery?
Huh?
Where is it? Oh, I'll help you set it up.
Yeah? Well, I'm not going to be here past... Should I get the tripod?
Well, if you're going to be doing video.
Well, I'm not going to be here long, but somebody else can take it. I'll get a tripod.
I may as well.
How's it going, man?
I don't know who's going to make it, but I could try one hand and the other, but I don't think it's going to work very well.
Oh, yeah? No.
I'm just... Yeah, me too. You know, this is needed. We need a lot of combined effort. And hopefully people in Salinas will learn something.
Then go swimming, I think, after 5 o'clock.
Swimming is good, particularly on a
In the meantime, I'm going to ride around and get exercise.
Take
Not
care
for
of
the
yourself.
protest, Robert.
All right, remember if you find a bathroom that's open, let us know.
Or don't use it in solidarity.
Either way, they
You guys,
reopened.
what do you think of my sign?
Nice, I like it.
Readable?
That is cool and has decorum.
Thank you. Alright. You see the toilet?
Everywhere. See how versatile bicycle is?
I'm all over the place.
That's good.
You can read it? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
I'm not sure. I can't carry both these cameras at once. That much I know.
Okay, I can help with one.
Yeah, if you well, then
If
who's
you
gonna
want-
hold your
if-
sign?
What?
I said, then who's gonna hold your sign?
Me.
If you-
I'm dexterous.
Okay.
Pretty dexterous.
Open the world. Open our hearts.
Here's some ideas for some stuff we can
Oh,
do.
Media Man.
Yeah, why not?
Who are you representing? Media Man. I've met you before.
Yeah, Nick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Wes.
indie media?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give you my statement, right? Because I have issued a formal statement why I'm taking part in this. Is that good enough?
Conscience in action.
So Nick, here's something for
Sounds
you.
good to me.
It's not official, it's just my personal. Do you want it in an envelope?
No, I'm just saying.
Some of it's
Man of the people.
some of it's applicable, some ways.
That's his whole new feet.
Hello.
Hello.
Free, can't we just
I guess it's going to be approved.
Yeah, the old
What is this from? Permanent markers. Her camera?
Oh, it's her camera now. Okay.
It's your camera.
I don't care.
Some suggestions.
Shoot, I'll take it. Nobody wants it.
Huff wants to do this. Huff is me, and everybody wants to do
Well,
this is not. This is about this. This is not.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, this is about what we're doing today. If we're not.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a multiple choice.
We always do what we want to do anyway, right?
Exactly. Here. Here you think.
Oh, another thing I have to read. Run out of brain
Well,
power.
I don't know. Yesterday I did that. And I was a little,
Yeah, you went to the city council and
Yes.
you did a few minutes.
So it's, there's one for the library house on the back. I'll have in here people. The parking garage is way there.
Where did Nick go? Hey, Nick, you got some media down there. You want to give them a couple of pages? There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, middle of the day on a weekday and so on. Yeah, this is great.
I'm not one for vandalism.
You've got some media already here.
You have
To toilet paper somebody? Plenty
You
around.
are an aggressive person. I never aggressive.
Well, that's the only thing I can think to do with it. I don't mean to be aggressive.
You can shake it instead of your fist.
Hey, sunshine.
Free the toilet paper.
Good one. I got, all right. Combination?
Very nice. You're the motion. We are, yeah.
I didn't tell Louise. You know what happened to my guy? He just told me. Last night,
Right to pee.
broke into his broke his window into that building. And there was a bunch of homeless people in the backyard. And when he asked them, why did you do that? He says, we're up. And now Mike has got a piece of window.
That's too bad.
You seem to take it really well.
It is, first alarm interrupted me. You're supposed to be enough crap, more crap.
She started to
I like it.
The man that writes the sea, where the hell are we gonna pee?
It's really mean. You don't need to say it. That's James. I was clearly finished.
Pardon me? No, it looks good.
I'd appreciate it if you would ask me.
More than 3 countries.
And I didn't ask for your criticism. I don't know. And clearly I was always having a problem. Please
Focus on why.
Why don't you stop trying to control me? Okay? Thank you. Yeah, they do. And so do yours go beyond me.
Okay, I'm not into it.
Hey, don't be mean then. Cut it out. You're the one who started. I didn't ask for your criticism. Well then do.
Give it out a flyer.
Any volunteers?
Solidarity.
There's so many people passing by.
The passers-by.
We're gonna do the
Porta potty's there. Not here, it's at the clock tower where the meal is.
Oh.
So we have to march to there.
Pass out flyer.
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to have it delivered here and then pick it up and they're ready $4.
Right. No, I hear you. No comment about that. Sounds good.
Here's Keith's flyer too. If you find people
Hi,
who
you want a flyer?
Well, I did get a minute to chat with Giles.
Yeah, I'm really wanting I'd like to see. Like the wind is going to blow us all away.
seems like it.
Nice. This is great.
And it's perfect. When you get people kind of
No, but yeah, but. So has anyone here had any trouble taking a dump or using a bathroom in the last month?
Yes.
Downtown? Not due to COVID, obviously. Oh, you have? Yes. Very personal question. Certainly is. What was your problem, Phil?
I was at the Louden Center with an organization. There was meeting there, and I needed to go pee. And I had to go find someone to open up the bathroom because it was locked. It took me 5 minutes to find the person.
Did you have an accident?
I peed in my pants. Luckily, I did not have an accident.
2 inches out.
But it was frustrating because not only was the bathroom not open, but I had to go find the person to open it. And luckily somebody told me where to go, because he was not where he was supposed to be.
And then he had to be walked down the hall like he was a child. Like a child, right. It's an insult. It's an insult to the public to do this. They're not just infringing on the rights of the homeless anymore, they're infringing on the rights of everybody.
Now, we actually have an actual homeless person. Is anybody here outside at the moment on the house? No, but here's a woman who is approaching, taking her time.
So these are on the portable toilet and we put them on the side. Yeah, they can either donate in the toilet or they can donate
Melody, Meredith, how are you?
It's there, ready to go with toilet paper.
Well, look at that, huh?
Washing, soap.
I'm here for a hug.
It's at the clock tower.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that is what we have. No, I just told City Council on Tuesday that I would be putting a portable toilet on their land on Thursday, which we did. And they didn't. What can they do? You know, they're not providing toilets.
Yeah,
we just had to raise like $100 a month.
Open the bathrooms, let freedom ring.
Amen.
That's what I said. Hey, that's what I said. Come on. Don't you have time to open the bathroom? I mean, come on. You yuppies. Oh, no calling names here. No name calling. Whoops, take that back.
Yuppies. I think you're younger than yuppies.
This is pretty light insult.
why?
My name is Mary Wells. I'm the author of the Santa Cruz Free Guide and the Santa Cruz Guia Gratis and the Watsonville Free Guide and the Watsonville Guia Gratis. All one-page summary with information that's really, really useful to anyone who's struggling with finding housing and is needing support. There's a website, and I'm going to go and do this in Contra Costa County. I did it in Mariposa County. This is my second county.
They're moving from county to county. But what about them open bathrooms?
Oh, the bathrooms. Okay, here's what I think about the bathrooms. Right? People are really concerned about extra garbage and things that really belong in the toilet being not in the toilet around it. And it just makes sense to me, like, we only had one bathroom for 10 people, and you get another bathroom where like...
Wait, you gotta put something underneath that first.
So it just doesn't make sense if you've got a complaint that people aren't using bathrooms, to take away bathrooms and not provide enough bathrooms. It's just, you don't need those things.
Finding places to go to the restrooms and stuff, kind of is what brought you out here. So if I could first start by getting you to say and spell your first and last name for me.
Okay, I'm Rabbi Philip, Philip, Poser, Poser.
Perfect.
I'm a retired rabbi living in Santa Cruz and a homeless addict.
And Rabbi Philip, what brought you out here today?
Well, we recently, so the catalyst for our organization, which we're calling Conscience and Action, was the situation that so many homeless people have to pee or shit in the public because they can't find a place. So I personally was at the Louden Center, which is a nice community center here in Santa Cruz, 2 weeks ago at a meeting. The group that had the meeting there paid for the use of the facility, but the bathroom was locked. And finally somebody told me, go over there and you'll find someone who will open it. So finally it took me 5 minutes to find the person in a facility that we had rented to go pee. So I went, and then the guy locked it again. And our concern is that in Santa Cruz and elsewhere, but in Santa Cruz, public places are being denied homeless people, but also the general public. Now, the excuse that they use is vandalism, and there's legitimacy to that issue. So we recently been talking to council about the possibility of paying people to do what happens in Mexico and everybody place else, is to be there at the bathroom giving out toilet paper or whatever. So it's a tough issue, but it's ridiculous that in a city like Santa Cruz, people don't have a place to be, etc.
And I mean, what do you suggest comes out of this? What do you want to come out of this?
We want bathrooms to be open. We want public bathrooms to be open throughout the city, 24 hours a day, ideally. But certainly during the day. But ideally, 24 hours a day. Because imagine, a woman who's got a menstrual period and she can't find a bathroom. And it happens.
And what message do you have to maybe the few people that have been vandalizing, or almost making it harder for other people?
The message to those people who are vandalizing is that they're hurting themselves ultimately and everybody else. But there's a lot of anger in our society, so people do stupid things. This is my wife, Louise.
Hi. Hi, my name's Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi there. So yeah, I was just.
So she was with me at the meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Do you want to say anything else? Is there anything else?
No, I just hope that the city of Santa Cruz will make a decision that homeless people and the public have a right to have a place to go to the bathroom when they leave it. Thank you.
Otherwise, they force people to take care of their bodily needs in public.
Right, setting people up for failure is what's happening.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. Yeah,
Thank you for your interest.
Sure, yeah, of course.
Well, we're paying taxes. It should already be provided. It shouldn't even be a question.
I'll be out here a little bit longer. Thank you.
Sidewalk and shops for all you fellas.
You gotta love Santa Cruz, huh?
Keeping it weird, huh?
People that they don't want into. But there are other things that are happening at Louden, such as a fence around the park, such as new rules about not setting down your stuff.
This is part of the general closing down of the public, which is totally unjust. It's all part of the plan by the forces of commerce and finance to just deprive people of just about every public facility in order to get rid of them.
But private enterprise can do it so much better.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's just completely unjust, unconstitutional.
Now you have a history of being sympathetic to the porta potty industry. As I remember, you actually funded a porta potty in 2010 for the infamous and much bemoaned Peace Camp 2010 that camped during the night outside city, well, first outside the Board of Supervisors, the courts actually, and then at
courthouse, yeah,
and then outside the city hall.
2010, yeah, December of 2010.
Now, you've also joined this group, I guess, this Conscience in Action group, or this is what spurred you to come here, or you were a supporter of this?
Yeah, I didn't even hear about it until I went to the meeting.
Somebody sort of dropped it on your head, so to speak.
Yeah. The other thing I want to do for is open up the whole process of politics and government. Cameras and microphones.
Talking to the mic, he wants to hear you.
Yeah, I'd love to. I was wondering if you were getting scared and you know, like, oh, I gotta hide, be anonymous.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
It is far from anonymous.
So, as I was saying, the other thing that we want to do is to open up the whole process of politics and put cameras and microphones on office holders and make them step forward every 10 days or 20 days on television across the table from a citizen.
How about every day?
We'll be open and accountable government. So otherwise, we don't get to take part in any of the lawmaking process. We're supposed to be citizens of the democracy.
Was that a dream or a real thing?
That's my hobby horse.
We've been talking about
All right. What do you think?
Salinas, I've met you a couple times actually at Enrique's house.
Wes. I recognize you, Wes. With those glasses. Good to see you.
I'll give you a card just for fun.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody...
For the same contact, actually, what you're talking about is kind of the same kind of slate I'm looking at trying to drive up. Better and best practices, accountability, you know, finding people with integrity rather than experience, because we see what experience gives us.
Yeah, you know, I'm with the 2018 elections coming up in November.
Right now.
This is a crucial time.
This is it.
I'm going to approach all the voters through, digital means to get them angry enough about the fact that they have there's no role for citizens in the lawmaking process. And
that's what our representatives are supposed to do for us.
Which means,
they're benevolent though, aren't they trustworthy? The honorable.
Yeah, right. But the problem is, a lobbyist is calling on an office holder, and it's behind closed doors. We have no idea, number one, that they're having a meeting. Number two, we don't know what they're saying.
Right.
We don't know, three, what they're offering each other.
Right. And what they're deciding.
Yeah.
And then the spin that they give to the public is completely off base of what they already had a meeting in the minds with.
Yeah. So we have no real democratic process going on in this country, and I've got to get people angry enough about that to require that the candidates answer the question: do you or do you not support this constitutional amendment that's going to give us open and accountable government? I got it all drafted, the amendment.
Very well.
And, it's the only way to undermine the power of the forces of commerce and finance that I can think of. Because we're not going to get an amendment that says you can't spend money. Because the Supreme Court will keep saying, First Amendment, you get the right, you can't stop a person from putting up a sign or putting on a commercial on TV or whatever, because that's the First Amendment, right to speech. But you can require that those meetings with office holders and lobbyists be open to the public, and when that happens, there's not going to be any more corruption.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Let's work toward it.
Yeah, that's the way I'm going to approach it. But I got a meeting I got to do.
We'll get
good talking to you.
Yeah, man. Let's see you again.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't recognize you.
No, you're fine. It's not, I don't come to Santa Cruz very often. And you haven't been coming down to Salinas either.
No.
Wasn't there a Watsonville protest right now too?
Today there's for the child situations.
By the way, does everybody know that at 4:30 in Watsonville, Move On is sponsoring one of many rallies throughout the United States having to do with the situation in the border. Louise and I are going down there, and some other people, so...
Separating children from their parents at the border.
ICE. The Trump administration...
Thanks for coming by, my dad.
Away the children.
950 children already have been separated from their parents.
How many?
950.
No, it's more. They've
That was in 1 month.
Kids.
That was just in the last month. Nearly 1,000.
And the rallies are being held throughout the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is Santa Cruz that one? Watsonville's the closest one?
Yeah, Watsonville's the closest.
That's some white privilege.
happened here?
Yeah, we got two. I mean, Monterey County is trying, or at least Monterey Bay, and Salinas, and a few other locations, in Watsonville included. But then, I think it's more severely impacted in those communities we're talking about, and Monterey is willing to, throw their card in at least.
Yeah, I got caught between eyes by the cops.
I'm surprised there's not one directly in Santa Cruz. Even the YAR, the Your Allies Rapid Response or something. I can't remember what it is. YA.
Yeah. They're here, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're here in Santa Cruz.
Yeah. Well, I guess there should have been more collaboration. In Salinas, we have a lot of friends in Watsonville too, so that may be another reason why. It is. It's probably getting the word out. Relationships, collaborating, and tipping off those people.
I think it's
outside even. That's kind of weird. That almost doesn't make sense. I was just thinking that too. I was like, is that what I smell?
I have people that staff the food up on the table the whole time.
Oh, you kidding? But aren't you worried about it falling in the food or something?
I mean, with the literature table. They just set the literature table on, and I'm like, that's legal nowadays. Every time I see it, though, I think, wow, is that normal?
It'll become the new normal, I guess, right?
We have a pretty robust sanctuary movement here.
Well, except for Beach Flats, but now you got a new chief. But that's the thing, it's like you can have it in writing, but actually following through and doing it seems to be the problem. It's one thing, and that's almost everything, right? They'll use the law against you, and they'll use it first and foremost. But when it works in your favor, they're going to try to ignore it and pretend.
Don't go away. We can use you. And use you.
You're at the protest, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And administration, the whole budgeting.
You have to pee?
Eat.
Well, you can pee in here.
Yeah.
The tambourine.
I often pee when I go out to Lighthouse Point, and I kind of pride myself on being discreet, so it's...
Wait a minute, let's get this on.
And one time, a woman...
You want to take protest to the next level.
Now, wait a minute, let's get this on.
Let's do it.
A little tiny bit.
What did you say? Go with?
I looked and I didn't see anybody, then all of a sudden here they come.
Now, was there an open
Bunkers.
bathroom?
Okay.
There he is, an example of the archetypal evil homeless.
And a little nice bit.
Well, you go inside and you cause a ruckus. We're going to get rid of them, make sure they don't come up.
Right.
I got some forms. We thought we had you apply to be
There's
head
a
of cluster.
progressive shutdown. Like, there used to be no protest. Even if you were a protester, making a sign, we're going to have a protest now. But this is how they kill the frogs, by boiling them in water. It's like, and I think that's one of the things that's There's so much happening here all the time. The students are kind of going their own way, the ones that are involved there, like members of the DSA and the Senate, don't want to do the non-violent thing with these resource centers, so there's an age divide. I'm just trying to talk to why I think some of their leaders right now have more protest. I think it could be the queen of rallies.
So distracted that they're not even doing anything.
Or we can go, we're going to file a complaint.
I mean, we do half of the stuff that we're doing.
This is good. So anyway, I thought I could...
So, how come we don't... I'll see if I can
I just say we actually ask for a key.
So that's who?
I just come from a surgeon, so they can't fix my the best I can do is actually be more of a lefty and get the pain managed to the point where I can sleep. So other than that, which is news, So I guess I haven't fully reacted.
I'm willing to go do
Don't have any idea.
The mayor, I seen him cutting the ribbon casing.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing. You know what?
Back out of the ribbon
I think I got most of the thumbs down.
Yeah. My problem is I can't.
What are you talking about? How you gonna be here for going through the hallways? I mean, let's just figure the speech you do. It's the same difference.
Yeah, but I mean, I just paid like $650.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, a lot of unions do that. And unions have done
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
well, page comes down and there's leadership right there.
Somebody here.
I don't have the stamina to do this year after year, protest after protest. I just don't have what it takes. But they do. There are just a few of them, and they're protesters to the bone. So I'm here because I care about homeless people. I care about them, and they care about me. One time it was Mother's Day, hadn't heard from my kids. I stopped by here with some extra food from the winter shelter program. And lo and behold, Linda Lee had made a gigantic bouquet of flowers for herself, but she knows me and she loves me and she gave me this gigantic bouquet of flowers for Mother's Day. And when I see somebody, I say, Melody! And I had one come over when I saw she was in the median lane, and I said, Michelle, and she came over and said, I love you, and she kissed my hand. These people, you just treat them like human beings, and they're so like human beings, almost better than other human beings because they're so real. I found that sheltered people have walls up around them, and unsheltered people often are much more real. They won't be fake to you. They'll be real about what they think and mean, and as much as they can be. And I'm in a situation where I have enough money to rent a room in a house and not be homeless. And I think that helps me to be a homeless advocate because I'm near homeless. But also, it's a special gift I've been given. It's been 20 years, and it's just the most wonderful thing to do with your time. Peanut butter jelly sandwiches, whatever the heck. Just, say hi. Really, I talked to a man in Capitola yesterday, just off to say hi to him, and we were talking, and then I decided to give him some money, and he gave me this ring, a Celtic sword, he made out of copper wire, and then we hugged, and these people are way more likely to hug you than most people. I go to the train tracks, and people, aren't you afraid? No, they're real, and they're not going to attack me. They're not. It says in the Bible that if you take care of the poor in Isaiah 53, that the glory of the Lord will be your rear guard. I'm like, yeah, give it to me. So I did this meal for 14 months, once a week, Jesus Food Community, and I went from place to place to place. But the first place I played my guitar and we all sang together, Jesus Loves Me and songs like that. So it's really uplifting for human beings that don't have shelter that is safe and warm and protected. So for us to really batter them this way, it's criminal. It really is. It's against everything we teach our children.
What message do you have for city leaders about these restrooms, about providing these spaces for the people?
First of all, I wouldn't like your job.
What I'd like is to be able to do it in a productive way. What I mean by that is, I don't want to be disrespectful, but maybe if people could can raise their hands so that we're not talking over people is what I'm, trying to accomplish, and that we're kind of a little organized.
We can do that.
So you have your hand up.
Well, I just asked in there if there was a way to file a formal complaint on paper, and she said that would be with the city clerk's office. So I would propose that perhaps we go there next and all file formal complaints on paper.
in there?
Second, Linda.
You know what?
It'd be better to have one person
You know what, you
speak at a
guys were
time.
asking maybe if we can, because I just think it's a better way of communicating. You know what, I can tell you, I think the city clerk's office is a way to formal complaint. But honestly, you can always send an email to me. You can
what's
send.
your name?
You know what? I'm Carol Scourge, and really, what I'll do is I can write down on the back of that for you, because all city emails, pretty much are the same. What I mean by that is it's at cityofsantacruz.com. So how everything's configured is it's the initial of your first name and then your last name at cityofsantacruz.com.
But then does it just go, into the trash bin?
But I mean, if doing a formal
But they have to
complaint.
respond to a formal complaint.
How do you rate Scourge?
Well, I would
Raise your hand.
you guys, please. Thank you. I really appreciate it, because I just think it's good to communicate so everyone can hear. And I see your hand up, and then when we finish, I'll be right with you. But please feel free to file a formal complaint with city clerks. Feel free to respond to, to email me. If you'd like to talk, if you respond to the council, that's another good way. If people email me, I always get back to them.
But while you're here, should I just say briefly that if there are no public bathrooms available, then the burden falls on the restaurants and shop owners. And there's city funds available to keep public bathrooms open. And when we've had plenty of protests where there's been security guards paid for in triplicate, quadruplicate. So so there's no reason why there shouldn't be public bathrooms available to the public if we are paying taxes to the government to provide basic services for biological functions. And what ends up happening is the general public at large, it's not this idea of keeping the bathrooms closed so that homeless people and poor people don't have access. It's also the elderly, the disabled, the kids, that people need access to public bathrooms, and I don't know why that's a problem. Also, for people who are poor, it's an access point, for somebody that's having real serious problems. It's a social service, a place where you can access people.
And women
Okay, wait,
have
I'm taking
Yeah,
show
women.
hands, okay? And so this gentleman, and then I see this, and then I see this, okay?
Okay, for clarification, it would be C and then S, maybe C-U-R-R-I-T-C-H?
It's C, and I think that's a good question because it's a tricky name. So it's C, S-C-U-R-I-C-H at cityofsantacruz.com. And if I could ask people maybe to stay out of the landscaped area, I know it's a little tricky, but if we could, I know there's some ones where there's not plants, but I think it's easier to stay out of it. So then I think I have this, I pointed at you.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, are you aware that they
Can we all sit down?
shut down the bathrooms at Louden Nelson
Yes,
to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what I want to ask is what is the problem with the city's attitude, and this is of course my opinion is in this question, but what is the problem with the city's attitude in terms of a humane response to the enormous numbers of homeless people who've been driven out into the street, and it's happening all over the country. There's a lack of housing supply, the jobs don't pay anything like a living wage, and a lot of people just can't do the 2.5 jobs. And so there's a lot of nexus of issues here. So what is wrong with the city in terms of why don't they understand that the last bastion of resources for so many people is our city government to provide for human needs, especially bathrooms?
Well, I think that's a really difficult question for me to answer. I mean,
Could you take a stab?
Yeah.
No, I could take a stab at Louden Nelson, and I'd be
Okay.
happy to do
All
that
right,
because
thank
I just,
you.
I just think that's such a broader issue and something that really, that not only the city of Santa Cruz but the state of California, that all across our country that we're grappling with. But I can really answer your question about Louden Nelson.
Okay.
And you know what? It wasn't a step that we took lightly at all. And again, I just want to let you know that the restrooms are available to people that use Louden Nelson. And I know that's a challenge for people. But we got to a point at Louden where we felt like it was unsafe. We have our teen center there, we have youth programs there, and when we can't provide enough resources to assure that people can safely go use the restrooms there, that's when we have a real problem, and we really felt that we had to address that. I'm hoping that it's not a long-term solution, I hope it's short-term, but we had behavior that was going on in our restrooms that you just would not accept anywhere, and unfortunately, it's a small percentage of people that create that situation. And so we felt that we needed to take a drastic step. We do have a lot of restrooms available to people. I know it's not always the easiest and the simplest. All of our parks, we have. You know what?
Okay, now let me just say, you said you'd answer Louden Nelson, which you've done. And I think it's fair if we're going to have a really fair conversation. Now you're getting into territory that I think other people may have questions about. I got to ask you my question. Maybe other people can ask a question about what they perceive about the other bathrooms. Because what I'm hearing, and I'll let it go at this, is that a lot of people think bathrooms are open that are actually not. So if you could maybe take the next question, that would be great.
So I think we took yours. I think here, and then I didn't, and then I think here, and then this woman out here. So
You put
right
it
here.
to Steve Price before.
Bathroom attendant.
Yeah, well, San Lorenzo, for instance, is closed, and you've just closed Soquel, and
They reopened it.
and I mean, is this a third world country? The city pays for plenty of guards. Plenty of guards. If there's a problem, let them guard the restrooms. You know, let them actually be of use to the public. And it's not just the homeless. It's not just the children. Women between the ages of 11, 10 these days, and 60 maybe, have menstrual periods. They have to change their pads regularly. You know, where are they supposed to go around with their pants and their skirts stained in red, looking for a restroom?
I don't have an answer. I mean, I didn't see a question in that. So
That's an honest question. Are women supposed to do that? Are babies supposed to go around with their diapers full because there's no private place to change the diapers? Is that what the city expects?
no, I don't think that's what the city.
But that is the situation that the city has created.
Here's a question, Robert.
I think I have this
Well,
gentleman and then this.
So, I was at City Council meeting Tuesday, and I gave a talk. And at the end of it, having spoken to Police Chief Mills, he basically liked a couple of my suggestions. One was that at Louden, because you do have a legitimate problem sometimes with bad stuff that goes on, that at the office, people sign in to use the bathroom. They have to sign in, and so then at least you have the name of people who are using the bathroom. They also have to sign a thing saying, I understand that in using this bathroom, I have to treat it properly, otherwise I can be in, get in trouble with the law, but some kind of statement like that. So that was one of my suggestions. The other one is that in all the places where people have to go to park, that are controlled by Park and Rec throughout the city, that there be a sign that says,
this facility is open for public use. Understand that if you break the law, you will suffer blah, 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 blah. So at least making people realize. The third one is, as Louise said, and I know it's up to the council, it's not up to Park and Rec, but you can have a voice in that, and that is, and I talked to Councilwoman, what's her name?
Orion or Chase or Matthews.
Orion. She was concerned about it. And she said that she thought the city is moving towards the realization that they may have to hire people to be there in these places. And one of the issues that's come up is the issue of hiring unemployed people, including possibly homeless people, who would like to have the job, or would be willing to have the job of once a day cleaning the bathroom, so you guys don't have to have employees like at Louden who have to pick up shit that's on the floor.
Well, just so you know, and just to respond, it's not, oh, thank you.
And I want to thank you for coming out and talking
And
to
thank
us.
you for your suggestions, and I do think they're ones to really be considered strongly. It's really not about cleaning the restrooms, and I really appreciate that. That's such nice, and I think we do have people that would do that do clean, and that we would have people that would volunteer. For us, it's really a bigger issue. It's not, I mean, that is an issue, the cleaning and what's the challenge of that. Really, it's about illegal behavior that's going on there. And in order to...
When you say illegal behavior, you mean drugs?
Drugs and sex in general, and also vandalism and that type of thing. So really for us, and in order to, and we've tried this, in having an attendant, you have to have somebody that's really been trained. And Louden Nelson staff are trained, and they deal with people that are challenging all the time, because people get really very angry and are very difficult to deal with. So if we do get into a situation where we can have regular people there monitoring the restrooms, they really need to be trained, and they really need to know how to deal with people properly, so that it de-escalates situations and doesn't make it worse. So next we have this lady, thank you, and then this gentleman.
Excuse me, number one, the bathroom across the street from Newland, for months, no latch. I own $1 million house on the west side, okay? I need to use the facilities. This checking in? No. We as people have rights, access to any bathroom. Locking them? No. The dilemma is how we're treating the homeless. Now, they can't even sleep in the day without being harassed. So, okay, you've got discontent. Well, it's up to you people to mediate and find a neutral ground and not point the finger at the homeless. Period. They are human beings with equal rights, and a lot of them have mental health issues. So nobody's dealing with that. As a fact, there's only one facility that will maintain the severe mental illness, and that's Front Street. And where do the rest go, ma'am, who can't take care of themselves? In the street. And how many people can the homeless shelter provide services for? And if you have animals, forget it. And if you care about your possessions, forget it, because it's not safe. And it's run by, and it's full of drugs. So, excuse me, we've got to deal with the issues, and the toilets are just one of them. Thank you.
Okay, I have this gentleman, and you know what, really, I'm going to take just a couple more questions, and then I'm going to have to go back into work, so a couple more, please.
Yeah, so well, I've noticed that we spend a lot of money on First Alarm, and they're supposedly trained to deal with these things. And what I see them doing personally is going to people, waking them up, telling them they have to leave, calling the police, having the police come, take all their belongings and everything. And those people, for all that money, could actually be stationed at several bathrooms. So that's one thing. And I don't know if that's, we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on them. Why couldn't they actually be they're at Louden Nelson. Why aren't they like watching the bathrooms?
Well, you know what, just to answer your question, because I think that is a good question. We do have a ranger that's stationed there, and unfortunately, they're patrolling all over. They're there to work with people in Laurel Park and the community center. And what we've noticed is between the staff and the ranger, people are watching and are, abusing the situation and know when they can go in and do things. I mean, that's the only thing that I can imagine, because we do have people there, and I think our staff at Louden tries to be really vigilant and watch, but unfortunately, people know. They know there's cameras there, they're hiding their faces, it's going on when they're watching people, but I think what you're saying is someone needs to be stationed there all the time.
Like in every other city.
And so I think that's something we don't have funding for that, but I hear what you're saying is that's something that you really are wanting the city to do.
Yeah, and so we raised enough money to, in monthly donations, to get a portable toilet, which we placed over by the post office, because there'll be like all these stories, you gotta stop feeding the homeless because they go to the bathroom and so on, and there's really no bathrooms around there other than the bookstore when it's open, but it's not always open. So we thought, okay, we'll just have a solution. We'll just pay for our own portable toilet. So we have that stationed there at the clock tower now, and we'll just continue to pay for that. And that way, people will be able to use it, and it has hand wash and so on. So we're going to do that. But I've also noticed, I've traveled all over the world, and you do see an attendant at almost all public bathrooms in every part of the world except for the United States. So, that's I can't recall ever going to a bathroom outside the U.S. where there wasn't an attendant.
I've been all over Europe, and I don't remember seeing attendants in Europe. So I've been to Holland, but you know what? That's not the issue. The issue is we want to provide restrooms for the public. So, and I think that's a fair comment. Okay, so I think. Did you want to speak again?
Yeah, I know that.
Well, but I didn't see your hand, so it's I'll get to you. I'm not ignoring you. I saw her and I did.
About to make an escape.
No, I said I'd take a couple more questions, and I will not escape before hearing from you.
Louise, Robert hasn't spoken. Let him talk first.
I know that people, the homeless, are treated differently at Louden Nelson than the middle class, and they're often treated really unfairly. And my comment is, when you take powerless people and abuse them, they're going to respond in an infantile way, like smearing poop all over, like a baby would. And so I think that Parks and Recreation has part of the responsibility for it, for what's happening in there. It doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Well, you know what? I don't want to be defensive, but I really like to think that our employees are compassionate, caring, especially in Parks and Recreation. We deal with people day in and day out. It's our job, and it's something that we're involved in Parks and Recreation because we love that. I don't think that's all, that we're not perfect and we're not, above making mistakes. But I will say that it is not a homeless issue. I do not believe that. I think it's an issue of people going in and using the restrooms the way they should be used. And this has gone on for years where we've had the restrooms open. And so we got to a point, again, is all I can say is, we got to a point where it was not safe for the youth of our community. We have programs that say we don't come to Louden Nelson. It is not safe. We don't feel good about our children using the restrooms there. I've got at least 3 programs off the top of my head that said don't schedule us at Louden. And that's really heartbreaking to me. So how do you know what
More bathrooms.
Pardon me?
More bathrooms.
So I'm just trying to figure out how I can satisfy everyone, which is a challenging situation. So Robert, you had a question, and then I'm going to take one more, and then I need to get to work.
I understand.
Gotta go.
You've been very nice to
All
do
right.
this.
So a couple of questions. One is the original question, which was, do you have forms here if necessary that people can file complaints on?
We don't, no,
You
we
don't?
don't.
Okay, that's number one.
But if you'd like to have a piece of paper and write down your concerns and complaints, and I'm not being facetious at all, of course, we're getting complaints from people
We may do
constantly.
that. I may do this. The second question is, you talked a lot about security, and then suddenly it's the children and needles and following the law. These are all different things. Security to me means there being a real threat to a person. Now, people will tell you that improper disposal of needles is a threat, and that's true. But Louden Nelson abandoned the practice of having sharps containers years ago, over my objections, I might add. So, do you actually have reports, and are you prepared to make those public, of every incident where there actually was a legitimate, or even what you regard as, meaning we may not regard as a legitimate safety threat at this bathroom there, and the bathrooms of San Lorenzo Park, which have also been closed, as you know?
Well, Robert, you've made a public records request on that. We will
I
provide
have,
that.
but I'm asking you personally, are you prepared to be responsible for getting that information to us?
Well, of course, a public records request we will respond to. We by law are required to do that, and of course we'll do that.
I'll do that.
I think we should, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, the last director was not nearly as nice.
Well, and thank you for being respectful. And I know this is a really it's a challenging issue, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. You know what? For basically the same reasons.
As far as the training goes, is it part of the training if the security guard is asked the name, their name, is that like, and it's just disregarded and said, I don't have to tell you? Is that part of their training?
I can't answer your question.
What?
I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. I don't know what the law is. I really don't.
But it doesn't exude a very professional attitude.
Well, I'm really sorry that you feel that way.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank
you. Some more porta potties maybe in your town. Thank you.
And thank
Okay,
you.
everyone, let's go poop at the town clock.
Hey, but what about stopping by the city office, city council office on the way?
That was Carol
That
Sturridge
toilet's
of the Parks
closed
Rec.
too. And then we could have.
He didn't hear you.
That toilet closed too in there?
No.
In the Civic?
I guess I
We
wasn't
didn't get any new information here.
She talked
I
for
asked
half
her
an
too touchy
hour.
a question. I don't know why. I don't know why it's that touchy.
Yeah,
Kinda
she
weird.
certainly is. Originally we talked about
Maybe she's the wrong person to ask.
trying to use her facilities, because we had,
I guess.
we could go across the street from the bathrooms, so there, which should be open.
Certainly the answer I got.
Your suggestion is we walk from town clock?
Yeah, I would think the first the police chief might be a good person to ask that question of. He's very approachable.
She was talking about how they're trained and all this. But she talked specifically about space alarm being trained. How are they trained? Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and
Right.
Then that's a pretty good statement.
Well, yeah, I know. It's
dealing with people, so.
Saying their children are like.
Someone was
Well,
listening to
but she spoke it with such authority.
Right.
As in, she knows exactly what's going on.
I know, but if you really want
I
to
have her
know,
email address
maybe the
if
police
anybody
chief
wants to
is
write
the
it down.
person you ask.
Yeah, you know what it's a pervasive attitude is what it is. She's talking about them being professional. Well, there's point A of not professional.
Right, I understand. I don't
Right,
think
we're so
much of them
professional.
either. I don't think much of them either.
They've already developed their attitude. There was a Parks and Rec guy or a guy in a yellow shirt walked by that was going right there, assuming he's a city employee, and he's like, "What a joke!" As walking by.
Because they're going to make it so it's impossible.
So like I said, there again, it's the attitude of like, "What are they doing? I don't even care. It's stupid." And that's that attitude in itself is terribly unprofessional.
Yeah, don't take it personally.
You have to because they're pushing personality onto
want
you.
to talk about what they got out of this?
I know, but it's your responsibility about
I'm
how you
open
take
to
it.
it.
Right.
Absolutely nothing.
Or take it at all. When you sit there and take it, then what are you going to do? You're going to
But
perpetuate
you're not
the same
sitting
attitude.
around taking
all
it.
the
You're doing
issues
something.
and didn't even resolve anything.
Just
and
like they always do.
made it look like the homeless were the reasons why, instead of being accountable for their actions. So it takes two in a relationship. And once a person gets frustrated, you get reaction. So the people are reacting. And as far as I can see, this town's about ready to explode between people about ready to be homeless, the bus issue, and food, and the rent here. And as far as I'm concerned, rent control is a Band-Aid. Because why? None of those people building those are fined. They pay the fine because it's so low. So basically, people, let's raise the fine for the developers, and then the rent will come down. Until then, nothing will happen.
Thank you. We've been listening to
Karen Coleman.
Anybody else have any thoughts about what was said here?
I have a thought that I just, this is kind of discreet, but you know, people are forever telling me to send an email. At the bus station, when our buses are now 10 minutes late because Alex Clifford is loading up the drivers with so much work, they literally can't get from one bus to the next bus on time. They're stuck in traffic. And this is, as the woman, as Karen just said, this is ubiquitous without the city. If I were to start sending emails for all the difficulties that I'm encountering as a person who's not wealthy and relying on public services, I literally would be spending all my time, first of all, taking notes on what happened and when, and then getting to the library to use a computer to send the emails. And then what happens to the emails? I feel that this protest is so much more effective to bring us all together and to have a public person actually on film speaking to this than our own individual selves sending these emails all isolated in a corner which they can just ignore. I don't know, but that's my offering.
We've been listening to
This is Elise Casby.
Anybody else have any thoughts about what their daughter didn't get out of this discussion? The question about Conscience in Action has a meeting on Wednesday. Nick, is that correct? That you,
That's right.
11 o'clock at the Sub Rosa if you want to plan the next action around this. So that's going to be at the Sub Rosa Cafe, 11 a.m. next Wednesday.
Do you want to keep this on?
Sure, I can keep all the signs if you want to put them in my car.
So when you go into
Thank you, Robert.
I didn't think to count heads till late this time, but there were 18 as she was squirting.
Oh, not bad, not bad. And this was definitely a highlight. I was thinking maybe everybody was here, so I'm like, let's just go and make some noise through the hallways. You know, talking about open the bathroom, publicly. I mean, you know, I had clips there and right there in front of the thing, while they were writing the signs, the security guard comes up and tells you can't sit. You know, you can't sit on that wall. You know, it's the rules, this and that, right? So then she called the cops immediately, right? Because that's what her job. Well, okay, I roll up, and you know, a few minutes later, and so I'm seeing her standing, you know, and calling on the phone. And then I talked to Robert for a second, then he goes over to talk to her. You know, he kind of met in the middle. And, you know, he's like, he asked her name, and she's all, I'll have to tell you.
Even at that point.
That's your fucking, that's your training?
Yeah.
That's your training?
And they hired her because the person before was afraid of Robert, so counseling.
I got it on video, dude. Yeah. It's rude. It's just rude. This is highly unprofessional. And this is how you train your people?
Yeah. It's genocide. They're never going to say.
Yeah, for even identifying yourself, are you kidding me? Kidding me? You're now part of the wrong on the law.
Well, they don't like to think about their parts.
Right? No, yeah, they're private citizens still, right?
Support the city's budget here.
No, well, you know, they're more supporting their attitude than their policies. Policies are what you put in the paper, and yeah, come and get it because we'll see if you can actually get it.
About her.
Yeah.
Start opening about her attitude.
Yeah. Well, she had an open attitude until you get a little bit more real, closer to actual issues, right? Because what they said that the reason was vandalism. She made that like the fifth reason. Drugs and sex being number 1 and 2.
No drugs, no sex, no nothing.
Yeah, but she apparently the stated reason was vandalism, right? That's just what's in
That's
paper.
what they tell the paper.
Yeah. So what is that? It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Straight up bullshit.
That is bullshit.
You can't be honest with people. You get no business being in public service.
Yeah, I agree with that. Apparently half the city employees don't.
Oh, well, that's just what the law is for.
Straight, then we could straight.
Exactly. Well, you know, it's public and private and businesses, and they're always looking to subvert the law. Everybody cheats on their taxes, but you better damn well follow the rules.
Right. Yeah, they have a house.